What I remember is the day before the big storm was actually pretty warm, and we had been warned that the storm was coming, but it was hard to believe because it was warm and rainy. And as it turned out, that the rain caused as many problems as the wind and snow that we got the next day. But at 11 o'clock on the day before the storm, it was 40 degrees and still raining. And we had some flooding problems, as we always do, down in the southern part of the county, and those were a concern. By the time that people were due to come to work the next morning, the temperature was 4. And with the wind chill, we were talking about minus 40. In fact, the Weather Bureau at Akron-Canton Airport recorded a wind gust of 76 miles an hour at about 5:15 in the morning. So it was powerful and incredibly strong storm that I think surprised a few people.
And that day, the weather was unusual because it had been warm enough and there had been water on the ground and under, in mud puddles and things like that. And I was driving out into western Stark County in the rural areas, and the wind was just horrific out there because there was nothing to slow it down. When any water would get on anything, it would freeze immediately. And on this country road, a salt truck comes along, hits a mud puddle, splashes water all over my car, and it immediately freezes. Windshield wipers stop right where they're at. Everything was frozen. So I'm banging on the door trying to get it open so I can get out, because I know I'm sitting in the middle of the road. And I can't get my door open. Well, I thought, well, maybe there's less ice on the other side, so I can't get that door open. I eventually take a camera strap and wrap it around the door handle so that it'll pull the lock open, and I'm kicking my passenger side door trying to get it open. Finally it breaks loose, and I can get out and take a snow scraper and chip away the ice off the windshield, chip away the ice off the driver's side door so I can get back in there and get out.
It was massive, but it was kind of a strange thing because the really, really heavy area was right over top of us in Stark County, and that gave us a real good angle. Suddenly we heard over the radio that they were taking refugees at the Civic Center through the Red Cross, and so we went up there and figured that was a pretty good place to start. We went up Market Avenue in Stan Meyer's Jeep, and the storm was raging all around us, and we saw glass windows were breaking, traffic lights were whipping around the cord across the street and snapping and falling down in front of us.
The story that is most memorable to me was a visit with Jim Hillabish to the Canton Red Cross headquarters. And that was on 2nd and High, I believe, the old Red Feather building, I think. And we went there and to see who had come for emergency shelter. What struck me most about that visit was that in terribly frigid weather and high winds, they left the drapes open. I would think that they would have closed them for further insulation, but they had to keep the drapes open because they had no power either. The people who were coming to the Red Cross building for shelter were only going to be there temporarily because they were going to have to be moved to Memorial Civic Center because the Red Cross really was incapable of any sort of prolonged shelter in a building that was cold and dark.
Out in Perry Township, which really got hit hard by the power outage, they opened Edison Junior High School for an emergency shelter, and a lot of people took advantage of that. The officials out there were pretty quick in responding to the situation. Minerva also got hit hard by the power outage, and they opened their junior high school over there to receive people.
I remember in particular going out, I think it was to a fire station in Perry Township, and knowing, I was told that all kinds of people inside whose power had gone off, or one reason or another they could not get home or could not afford to be home, and I couldn't pull up to the building. I had to park way down the street, and getting out, and there was a particular lull in the wind. It was really windy that day, but there was a wall, and it just struck me how quiet everything was. In fact, it was silence. Nobody was out. It was just, the only thing you could hear was a crunch under your boot going up to the place, and you could hear your breath, and you could see the breath. I mean, it was white, you know, coming out. It was so cold that day. Getting inside, and kids just squealing like nothing else, like nothing at all is going on, and people talking about what was going on in their homes and how they couldn't get get heat, their electric wasn't working, one thing or another kept them occupied, and emergency people trying to keep them in snacks. It was just a surreal day.
I think in terms of my career, it's probably one of the most memorable things that happened, and it was drama and danger and all that sort of stuff makes for good stories.